7 o'clock, Mr. President.
What's that?
I have 7 o'clock.
Okay, you're good to go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to call to order the regularly scheduled meeting of the Beloit City Council. It is 7 p.m. on Monday, December 21st, 2015. Roll call, please.
All councilors are present.
Second item is Pledge of Allegiance. Will you please stand? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 3 is special orders of the day and announcements. We have none, so we will move on to item 4, public hearings. Item 4A.
Item 4A is a first reading of a proposed ordinance amending the future land use map of the City of Beloit Comprehensive Plan to change the future land use designation for the property located at 1633 Keeler from institutional and community service to mixed residential.
Mrs. Christensen.
There are 3 applications before you tonight related to the redevelopment of the Colac Education Center. The first is the item that was announced, which is the comprehensive plan amendment from institutional and community services to mixed residential. The second is the PUD master land use plan, and the third is a rezoning from public lands and institutions district to PUD planned unit development district. Commonwealth Development has made an accepted offer to purchase the property from the school district of Beloit. They are proposing an adaptive reuse redevelopment of the property into a multifamily residential community with up to 33 dwelling units. The property was initially developed as Roosevelt Junior High School, which operated until 1980. In 1982, the school district renovated the school building into the district's administrative offices. The offices were renamed the Colac Center in 1997. Approximately 55 administrative employees work at Colac, and about half of the site is comprised of open space. The neighborhood surrounding Colac is predominantly single-family residential with some duplexes. Colac is located about 1 to 2 blocks from the closest arterial streets, White and Prairie Avenue, so all traffic to and from the site utilizes the connecting local streets. The proposed development would change the traffic pattern which currently exists in the neighborhood. There are 55 employees that work at Colac. We are estimating the current traffic volume is approximately 200 trips per weekday and virtually none on the weekend. Using the trip generation rates recommended by the Institute of Transportation Engineers, this development, as proposed, would generate an average of 248 total trips per weekday and 150 to 200 weekend trips per day. The PUD plan was sent to the city's review agents. If approved, the fire department will require increased water supply along Carnegie and additional hydrants, and the city engineer will require designated haul routes and bonding to cover damage. Keeler bus lane removal and driveway consolidation, sanitary sewer relocation, and replacement enhancement of the Carnegie water main from 6 inches to 8 inches to supply adequate pressure for fire protection. Planning staff does support the creation of additional multifamily developments in the city when compatible with the existing neighborhood, but we do not feel that this development is compatible with the existing neighborhood. We feel that this development would dramatically change the character of the established immediate neighborhood by altering a century-old land use and creating evening and weekend activity and traffic, which currently doesn't exist. According to the comp plan, frequent amendments only to accommodate specific development proposals should be avoided, or else the plan will become meaningless. Particularly in light of the neighborhood opposition, amending the plan to accommodate a specific development is not advisable public policy. Public input is a critical component of the comprehensive planning process. During the applicant's neighborhood meeting on August 25th, the Plan Commission workshop on September 23rd, and the Plan Commission meetings on October 7th and December 9th, the residents of the neighborhood expressed strong and unanimous opposition to the proposed plan amendment. And in your packet, I think it's actually on the zoning piece, there is a petition which is signed by 173 of the residents who are opposing this development. And there's actually a formal zoning protest petition in opposition, which will require a supermajority on the zoning piece. And as a result of that, staff did recommend denial of all 3 applications, and Plan Commission did as well.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Christensen. All right. This is on for a first reading. So we'll open the public hearing on item 4A. Anyone wishing to speak on item 4A, please approach the podium and state your name and address. Second call for persons to come forward and speak on item 4A. Third and final call for persons to come forward and speak on item 4A.
Hi, My name's Kevin McDonald, Vice President of Development for Commonwealth. Just wanted to identify myself tonight. If there are any questions, and then just go through a few of the items and reasons why we feel the project is beneficial for the neighborhood, and give you a brief overview about what our plans are. First off, we're excited for the opportunity to adaptively reuse the historic Roosevelt School into 33 apartments, which will be targeted for families, young professionals, and seniors. We believe it's an important project to support Beloit's workforce and to ensure that a valuable historic resource of Beloit is not lost. Based on community and staff comments, we've reduced our plans to the 33 units that the city staff originally requested. The reduction in scope satisfies the concern over traffic, reduction in green space, and will ensure the Colac Center has a viable future use that will ensure the property is not a blight on the neighborhood while placing it back on the tax rolls. The proposal is consistent with the surrounding neighborhood, and the current neighborhood is currently about 1/3 rental, with areas of the neighborhood actually closer to half rental. The project is actually less dense from a unit per acre metric than the surrounding neighborhood. And one of the items that we believe our proposal really addresses within the city is the challenge of single-family homes converting to rental. And a big reason why we believe that is because there is a lack of affordable rental housing, quality affordable rental housing that's within the city. So we believe that our proposal will help to alleviate that concern while providing the quality affordable housing and reducing the demand for single-family homes to convert to rental. Additionally, Beloit's apartment stock, as I've mentioned many times, is 97% occupied. And economists will tell you that that is an unhealthy level. It doesn't allow for residents to have the opportunities to move between different types of housing, and that can be a big strain on both employers and economic development within a community. Finally, our proposal will preserve and increase city resources by ensuring a future use and no need for the school district and or the city to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to demolish and remediate the building while putting the property back on the tax rolls, satisfying the demand for affordable housing with the added benefit of saving one of the city's few remaining historic landmarks, all while supporting economic development opportunities for the city. So with that, I'll open it up for any questions if there are any.
Thank you. All right. Any further persons wishing to come forward and speak under citizen or under the public hearing for item 4A?
Jackie Thompson, I'm at 1247 Evergreen. A number of us have been to a number of meetings, all stating the same thing, that we're opposed to this. I guess I'm just coming up here to speak on everyone else's behalf, so we're not up here doing this over and over again, repeated people. We have not changed our minds. Our numbers are not any less. We are opposed to it, not just because we're in the neighborhood, but I really don't think it's a good idea for Beloit in this position. So I think I'm speaking for most people in our neighborhood. Okay?
Thank you. All right. Please approach the podium and state your name and address.
Hi, I'm Mark Wold at 1206 Partridge. I just wanted to quickly discuss the idea of adaptive reuse of buildings, but then also in the context of adaptive reuse of buildings for apartments in different neighborhoods of Beloit. We've got the renovation of the apartment building in the 900 block of Park Avenue, which will be adding capacity for rental units. We also have the Cary building, which will be the old Cary building, which will be adapted for apartments as well. Now, In the context of Park Avenue, that is a net neutral change to the community, to that neighborhood. It's already an apartment building, and it's being renovated back into apartments. For Cary, which is a downtown building, that looks to be a net positive for the neighborhood. It'll be bringing people downtown and helping with the revitalization of downtown. With this building, it's a significant change to the existing neighborhood, and one that I would argue is a net negative. So I just wanted to offer that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Any further persons wishing to come forward and speak on item 4A?
Good evening. My name is Mike Carney. I live at 1226 Evergreen, and I guess my comment is more for the gentleman sitting right here. At the first meeting last August, we were told that they had to have so many units, and if they didn't have that number of units, this would not be a viable situation. They could not continue. The next thing we knew, they had cut back, and with this building in the back with six units, I guess it was, and they said they had to have that. Now they're down to one building. I was going to ask him this question at the Planning Commission, but he didn't come to the Planning Commission last time, so I had no way of doing that and taking up your time. But it's just something that you need to know, that we've been getting the story over and over again, and it changes over and over again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other persons wishing to come forward and speak on item 4A?
I can just address the change in scope. The main reason why, well, one, the change in scope, we reduced the underground parking that was in the initial proposal. That's a big cost savings to the project. And then the other reason is the process of applying for affordable housing tax credits through WIDA is very competitive. One of those categories is serves large families, which is one of the largest scoring categories within their criteria. And in order to receive those points, you need to have individual entries in your 3-bedroom units. And doing that in a historic building isn't feasible oftentimes. So we would be disqualified from scoring in that category, making the project not as competitive or potentially not competitive at all. This kind of remains to be seen. So,
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes.
I just want to confirm for the record that you did not attend the Plan Commission meeting, correct? There was not a representative at the Plan Commission meeting to address any of these questions. I want to make sure that that is indeed a correct statement.
yes, I was not there. I had a conflicting meeting that night, and I made sure Drew knew. I was at the previous meeting that the change in plans were notified, and I did have a discussion with them regarding the change in scope. I didn't have a discussion with the individual that brought up the comment, though. So.
Well, I was referring to the Plan Commission in its entirety, but I just
That's
wanted
correct.
to be correct on that. Thank
Yep.
you.
Thank you. Right. Final call for persons to come forward and speak on item 4A. Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing on item 4A. This, do we have a motion to lay over?
Mr. President, could we vote on the merits of?
We would have to suspend the rules. I think it would be just as effective if we brought it up for a layover and then voted in, voted in the negative.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion? Oh, okay, motion by Lupke, second by DeForest. If we vote to lay it over, then we would address this issue again as a second reading on the next council meeting. If we vote no on laying this over, it kills the matter. All in favor of laying this over, say aye. All opposed to laying this over, say nay. Nay. The item dies. All right. The other two items, item 4B and 4C, we will announce and have a public hearing but they are essentially, they are dead matters because they cannot be approved with the rejection of item 4A. So item 4B.
A resolution authorizing a planned unit development master land use plan for property located at 1633 Keeler Avenue, Colac Education Center.
Right. I'll open the public hearing on item 4B. Anyone wishing to come forward and speak on item 4B, please approach the podium and state your name and address. Second call for persons to come forward and speak on item 4B. Third and final call for persons to come forward and speak on item 4B. I'll close the public hearing on item 4B. Do we have a motion? No, this one is for the merits. So we would be we get a motion for and second for approval, and then we would vote on it.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Moved by DeForest, second by Kelly. Since we can't vote in the affirmative, we'll go ahead and hold the vote anyway. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Nay. Item dies by a vote of 0-7. We'll open the public hearing on item 4C. Anyone wishing to come forward and speak on item 4C, please step forward and state your name and address. Second call for persons to come forward and speak on item 4C. Third and final call for persons to come forward and speak on item 4C. I'll close the public hearing on item 4C, and this one would be a first reading as well, so we have a motion to lay over.
Motion to lay over.
Moved by Lupke.
Second.
Second by Kelly. All in favor of laying over, say aye. All opposed? Nay. The item dies. So finally, the public hearing on item 4D.
Is a resolution approving vacation of an alley between Johnson and Town Line.
Mrs. Christensen.
We received a petition to vacate the unnamed east-west alley located between the 900 blocks of Johnson Street and Town Line Avenue. Included in your packet is the plat of vacation, and if it was approved, it would return the entire land area to the owners of the abutting lots. The east-west alley is perpendicular to a north-south alley that was already vacated in 1981 and 2009. The people have petitioned it, say that they regularly deal with criminal activity, unsafe vehicle speeds. Before the Plan Commission meeting, they mentioned that sometimes some of the school children are causing damage, vandalism type things. So they have asked that this be vacated and returned to them. They would then restore it to grass, or in the case of the guy that needs it for the garage, he will leave his driveway there. There are 7 lots with frontage on this alley. 5 of the 7 property owners signed the petition. The City Council may vacate an unpaved alley upon the written petition of the owners of more than 50% of the frontage of the lots abutting upon the portion of an unpaved alley to be vacated. The petition did meet that requirement. This request was originally filed in late 2014, but was delayed because there was a property that was foreclosed on by the bank, and the bank formally objected. And rather than just move it forward and have it be denied, Plan Commission opted to table it until that property changed hands, and then check in with the owner to see if the owner wanted it vacated as well, and the new owner does. And one of the issues with that property was that it has a narrow gravel driveway with a shared apron on Portland Avenue, and you need at least 2 paved off-street parking stalls on that property. They did submit a copy of a driveway easement over a portion of that adjacent shared driveway, so they now meet those requirements. If vacated, AT&T, Alliant Energy, and Charter have requested a utility easement over the entire alley. Plan Commission did review this item on December 9th and voted unanimously to recommend approval of the vacation, subject to a condition reserving a utility easement over the vacated area. And this is on your agenda for action tonight.
I'll open the public hearing on item 4D. Anyone wishing to come forward to speak on item 4D, please approach the podium and state your name and address. Second call for persons to come forward and speak on item 4D. Third and final call for persons to come forward and speak on item 4D. I'll close the public hearing on item 4D. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by DeForest, second by Lupke. Any questions or comments from councilors? Councilor DeForest.
Thank you. I just want to be sure that I understand the driveway access issue. So I understand now, in looking closer at the aerial photograph, that the driveway easement is for the properties between 1815 and 1809. Is that correct?
Between 1815 and 1819.
1819.
So there's currently a shared driveway between those two
Right.
properties. And so in order to get the required parking stalls, he needed a driveway easement. And so he has received that so that he has 2 parking stalls that are accessed off of the street.
Okay.
The one that you were concerned about, which is 904
The 904,
Johnson.
yeah.
They can leave their part of the alley in place so that they
Okay.
can access their garage, because they will own the land, the part of the alley behind their house.
So the
Carve
904
that and
and,
are
and then
okay
the abutting 96, I think it's a 6, 916 behind it. So they will share, they'll split that alley space in half so they
Yeah.
can each have access to the driveways.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's how the vacation works. It basically divides it in half, and then they
Okay.
each get half of it.
Okay, great. Thank you. I do have one general question. Do you think that property owners know in general that they can petition the city to have their alleys vacated? We have so many alleys on the west side.
I don't know if they do, and a lot of alleys have garages on them. I mean, some don't, but
Okay.
when we do find that we have issues with code stuff in alleys, we do let the residents know that that's an option to
Possibility?
them. And
Okay.
sometimes, to be honest, the cost of preparing a plat of vacation is what stops people to have this, because you have to hire a registered land surveyor to prepare that document.
Can we maybe look at trying to mitigate that? I mean, because from my perspective, there's some benefits to vacating alleys. So I guess we can talk about that in the future.
Yeah, we'd have to come up with a funding source for that, because
Right.
you do have to have that document in order to
Okay.
legally vacate.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any other councilors wishing to ask questions on item 4D? All right, I'll call the matter. All in favor of approval of item 4D, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Item passes by a vote of 7 to 0. Item 5 is citizens' participation. We have reached the point in the meeting for members of the public to speak to the council about issues that are coming before us or may come before us in the future. The council will not act on any requests this evening unless the item you are speaking about is already on our agenda, but we may act on requests at a future meeting or refer you to staff for assistance. We ask that you hold your comments to 3 minutes or less and avoid making personal attacks. I have no sheets indicating people wishing to come forward and speak under citizens' participation, but if someone wishes to come forward and speak at this time, please approach the podium and state your name and address. Second call for persons to come forward and speak on an item or on citizens' participation. Third and final call for persons to come forward and speak under citizens' participation. Hearing none, I'll close citizens' participation and we'll move on to the consent agenda. Item 6, all items listed under the consent agenda are considered routine and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussions of these items unless a council member so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered at this point on the agenda. Councilor DeForest.
Thank you. I would like to request that items D as in dog, E, and I be removed from the consent agenda, please, Mr. President.
An aye. Okay. Any other councilors wishing to remove something from the consent agenda? All right, the consent agenda will consist of items 6A through 6C, 6F through H, and 6J through L. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Second. Moved by Lubke, second by Hendricks. All in favor of approval of the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? We've approved the consent agenda by a vote of 7 to 0. Item 6D.
6D is a resolution approving the emergency ambulance service agreement with the town of Turtle.
Chief.
Good evening, councilors.
Good evening.
I would like to handle the staff report for both agreements if I could at the same time.
Please do.
please you. That would save some time and some efficiency. The fire department has provided ambulance service for the town of Turtle and the town of La Prairie for the last 40 years. The ambulance service provided to both townships is a high-quality service that benefits the citizens living and working in those areas. And in order to help cover the cost of the service provided to the town of Turtle and the town of La Prairie, they agree to reimburse the city in a retainer, which is contained within these agreements. For the town of La Prairie, it's an increasing fee over a 3-year contract. The La Prairie agreement is just a continuation of our previous agreement with virtually no changes. They pay a non-resident fee for the ambulance service when we do respond out there. The fee that they do pay helps support the ambulance service and the infrastructure, the station, the purchasing the ambulance and the equipment, and then the fees go on to finish that off. Just to remind you all from our budget process, the ambulance is an enterprise fund, and it is funded and solely supported by its fees that it receives during that time frame in the annual budget. The La Prairie agreement increases a small amount each year over that 3 years, and then we have a non-resident rate that we charge. A non-resident ALS rate is about $1,100 per call. We average about 20 calls per year to the La Prairie Township. Most of those calls are to the interstate, and it is the southern 1/3 of La Prairie Township that we cover. The northern 2/3 of La Prairie Township is covered by the city of Janesville. If you look at the numbers of calls that we have every year, we have about 4,500 calls every year. 20 calls is a very small amount of our $1.2 million budget. So that justifies the smaller retainer fee because it is a very small portion of our runs. Turtle Township, we negotiated a new rate for them this year. In late October, the Turtle Township came to us and stated that they were going to look at bidding out the ambulance service for the town of Turtle. They were trying to control their costs, and they were looking at the town of Beloit to provide their paramedic level service. Through negotiations, my Deputy Chief of Emergency Medical Services, Joe Murray, worked with them and got them to pay a non-resident rate, and then we kept their fee flat for a 3-year period. We have about 100 calls per service per year to the town of Turtle, and the rest of the service is covered again by that ALS $1,100 per call to support the service. Now, collection rates. Our typical collection rate right now, we're very blessed with about a 68% collection rate across our payer mix. That includes private pay, Medicare, Medicaid, and cash payments in private insurance. Now, we project our revenue at about 50% every year because we just don't know how Medicare, Medicaid, and changes in medical coding and all those kinds of things will project out, and we want to make sure we're underestimating the revenue and overachieving that to maintain a good level of service and a good budget, a balanced budget. So both of these contracts are for 3 years, and they can have automatic renewals. What I would propose to do, and what Chief Murray and I are going to do over the next 3 years, is look at a formula. When we first entered into these payer agreements, we did have a formula that was based on square mileage, population, numbers of calls for service, and assessed value. Those 4 components are part of what's called the North Shore formula. It's a fire district formula that's utilized by other districts in the state of Wisconsin, and we utilize that formula for the first 6 years that this agreement was in place. At one point in time, via the advice of City Manager Arft, we went with a flat fee and about a 7 to 9.5% increase per year from that point on. It was just easier to calculate, and it was incremental, and the townships were able to absorb that. So we bring these agreements tonight to set the table for the next 3 years, and then we're going to look at a different funding formula for the future. Any questions?
Right. Do you have a question, Counselor?
Thank you. You answered the questions that I was going to ask about the fee fluctuations and the calls for service. And I am pleased that we're looking at revisiting the North Shore formula. I think that's more fair to our towns and townships. So
You'll find that the fees that you see here are going to be very commensurate with
okay.
implementing the formula. It's just a more difficult calculation.
Okay.
And you know, when you base it on the prior year historicals, you're lagging a year behind when you set that up.
Okay. Thank you. And thank you, Chief Murray, for your work on this.
All right. Do we have any other questions or comments on item 6D or 6E? All right. Move.
Do we have to vote on them separately?
Yes, we do separately. Okay. On item 6D, we have a motion by Kincaid and second by Lubke. Is that my understanding? All right. All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? On item 6E, we've had the staff presentation. Do we have a motion for approval?
I'll move approval.
Moved by DeForest, second by Sloniker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item passes by a vote of 7-0. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you very much. Merry Christmas.
All right. You too. All right. Item 6I.
Is an application for a relocation order for easements related to the 4th Street Bridge project. This is a refer to Plan Commission.
This is a relocation order for permanent and temporary easements. The existing bridge structure was built in 1940, has reached the end of its service life. The intention is to replace the existing structure. It will be of substantially similar dimensions. This is being referred to Plan Commission. We'll come back to you at your next regular meeting. City engineers here if you have detailed questions about it.
Everyone.
Right, yes. And let's go ahead and get it on the table.
Sure.
Do we have a motion for approval? Moved by Lubke, second by Sloniker. Questions and comments? I already know. Go ahead, Sheila.
Thank you. I know this is a refer to plan, but I just wanted to ask when it comes back to us. I want a better understanding of which pieces we're asking for permanent easements and which pieces are temporary. I know all the plating numbers are there, but those mean nothing to me. So if you could help me understand that when it comes back, I would appreciate it. I just want to let you know so you're not caught off guard when it comes back. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments? All right. All in favor of approval of sending this to the Plan Commission, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Item passes 7-0. Item 7 is ordinances. Item 7A.
Is an ordinance to amend Section 1.14 of the Code of General Ordinances of the City of Beloit pertaining to polling places. This is first reading.
Yes.
And every 10 years, we set our polling plan, and once in a while, the polling places change. The school district of Beloit has sold its retired school building at McGlennigan Elementary, and so we've had to find a new polling place for those that are voting in wards 19, 20, 21. River of Life United Methodist Church provides for a wonderful layout that's accessible for all, and so that'll be located at 2345 Prairie Avenue, should you accept this change. And then also there was a couple of cleanups to Gaston School and Hackett School's address, so that would make the ordinance current.
All right, thank you. Do we have a motion to lay this over?
Motion to lay it over. Second.
Moved by Lubke, second by Kincaid. Do we have any questions or comments?
Okay, one quick comment.
Sure.
I just want to extend my gratitude to River of Life United Methodist Church for stepping up and allowing us to use their facility as a polling place, and because this is a new change for them, so thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, I'll call the matter. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? We've laid this over to the next meeting. Item 7.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Item 7B.
7B is an ordinance to amend Section 1.28 sub 3 to repeal Sections 1.513G and I, and to create Sections 1.59 and 1.60 of the Code of General Ordinance for the City of Beloit pertaining to Human Resources and Information Services Department. This is second reading.
All right. Do we have a motion for approval?
Motion for approval.
Moved by Lubke, second by Kelly. Do we have any additional comments or questions on this matter? Hearing none, I'll call the matter. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Item passes by a vote of 7-0. Item 7C.
7C is an ordinance to amend the future land use map of the City of Beloit Comprehensive Plan to change the future land use designation for the property located at 20 Park Avenue from community commercial to general industrial, and this is second reading.
Mrs. Christensen.
This property is the former Cup Foods building, which had a commercial land use designation on the comp plan and commercial zoning. The current owner is intending to use it for industrial uses, which does seem appropriate given what's on the other side of the border, more industrial use. So the first item, you've had your public hearings on this, but the first item is to change the future land use map from community commercial to general industrial, and the second one is to change the zoning from C3 community commercial to M1 limited manufacturing.
All right, thank you. Okay. So let's see, do we have a motion for approval?
Motion for approval.
Moved by Lubke,
I'll second.
second by DeForest, and Councilor Lubke.
I just wanted to give a quick thank you to the owner of the property for doing such a beautiful job of renovating that
Yes.
parking lot and putting grass in there. It looks really beautiful, and especially in that area. So, thank you.
All right. Do we have any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call the matter. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item passes by a vote of 7-0. Item 7D.
7D is an ordinance amending the zoning district map for the City of Beloit for the property located at 20 Park Avenue.
This is a second reading as well, and we've already heard the staff presentation. Do we have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Moved by Kelly, second by Kincaid. Do we have any additional questions or comments? I'll call the matter. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Item passes by a vote of 7-0. Item 7E.
7E is an ordinance to create section 15.06 sub 1E of the Code of General Ordinance for the City of Beloit relating to the possession and consumption of alcohol beverages in Big Hill Center. This is first reading.
Thank you.
Mr. Director.
In front of you is, the city ordinance, I should say, allows the issuance of beer and wine with their picnic permits at this current time in Big Hill Park, Leeson's Park, Wooten Park, Summit Park, Hilliard Park, and Riverside Park, as well as currently at the Rotary River Center. However, no designation has been approved for the new Big Hill Center and would allow similar use in renting this new facility. Therefore, then what we're seeking tonight, we really believe is just a formality, which is to approve a new ordinance, which is written and mirrored to reflect the same references for Big Hill Center as we currently have for the Rotary River Center, and has been drafted by our city attorney as well. So at this current time, it would allow for then beer and wine consumption and possession. It would also give us opportunity to give permits out as one-stop shopping when they come in to register and reserve the facility. And of course, we would provide issuances along with notifying the police department of anyone who has a permit to use the facility in that regards.
All right. Thank you. Do we have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
Moved by Lukey,
Second.
second by Kelly. Councilor DeForest.
Thank you. Ms. Kruger, Attorney Kruger, I just have one question. I want to make sure this is comparable to the other ordinances we have related to the other park facilities where there's the allowance of consumption of alcohol. I just wanted to make sure.
Right, this ordinance will allow the possession and the consumption, but not the sale of, so it'll restrict that to just private parties and their invited guests, and it's the exact same procedures we use for the Rotary River Center.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right. Do we have any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call the matter. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Item passes by a vote of 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Did we lay it over?
This will just lay over to
Oh,
the next
excuse me, it's
meeting.
laid
Sorry.
over. Sorry. Thank you for clarifying. I was flying along. All right, so item 8 are appointments. All right, we have some appointments today. I, the undersigned Charles Haynes, duly elected President of the Beloit City Council, subject to confirmation by the Beloit City Council, does hereby appoint the following citizen members to vacancies and terms indicated below. Said appointments being pursuant and to nominations made and approved by the Appointment Review Committee at its regular meeting held in December 14th, 2015. Appointments. Appointment Review Committee. Incumbent Henry Clement to a term ending December 31st, 2018. Incumbent Louise Reidenbach to a term ending December 31st, 2018. Board of Review, incumbent James Rowe to a term ending December 31st, 2020. The Business Improvement District, Downtown Beloit Association, Elena Panico, Beloit College, 700 College Street, replacing Tiffany Warren as the Beloit College representative for a term expiring December 31st, 2018. Incumbent James Packard Jr., property owner, for a term expiring December 31st, 2018. Incumbent Richard F. Hulbert, owner-occupant, for a term expiring December 31st, 2018. The Community Development Authority. Incumbent Loretta Evans to a term ending December 31st, 2019. And incumbent David G. Baker to a term ending December 31st, 2019. Do I have a motion to approve the appointments? Moved by Hendricks and second by Kelly. Any questions or comments on the appointments? Hearing none, I'll call the matter. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Item passes by a vote of 7-0. I'd like to announce the following vacancies. To the Alcohol Beverage Licensing Control Committee, 2 vacancies for residents. The Appointment Review Committee has 2 vacancies for residents. The Board of Appeals has 2 vacancies for alternate residents. Board of Ethics has 1 vacancy for former city councilors, 5 vacancies for residents. Board of Review, 1 vacancy for resident, 2 vacancies alternate for residents. Community Development Authority has 1 vacancy for resident. Equal Opportunity Commission has 2 vacancies for residents. The Municipal Golf Committee has 2 vacancies for residents, 1 vacancy for youth representative. The Parks and Recreation Conservation Advisory Commission has 1 vacancy for youth representative. If you would like to involve yourself in your community affairs and help move us forward, I would suggest that you consider applying for one of these commissions. Please contact the City Manager's office for more details. Item 9 are councilor activities and upcoming events. We'll start with Councilor Sloniker to try to shake things up.
I have nothing to report.
Aha. All right, Councilor Hendricks.
Way to shake it. I'll be quick because my first thing is to wish Councilor Kelly a happy birthday. And she needs to get home so she can have cake. But I had 2 events that one I participated in, one I helped coordinate, that I'm just grateful for the Beloit community for coming out, is the River of Life Christmas Cantata. I got to play in that, and we had 2 performances, and the Beloit community came out and enjoyed great music to kick off the holiday season, so I'm grateful for that. And then this past Saturday, our young people were able to meet. I see one that was there. She met him. We had a celebrity come in, Diggy Simmons. He's a young hip-hop celebrity, royalty, I'll say. So we had a great event at the high school, and where our young people were able to participate and share their talents as well as participate in a concert for them. And then some people got to meet him, and they were really excited. The Beloit community is just awesome. He was making tweets and Instagram posts, and so Beloit's name has been all over the nation or the world, whoever's following him on the social media. So that was just really fun. He went to Lucy's. They loved it. So yay for downtown Beloit. He went to Elder Bierman to get cologne, but he was around the Beloit community, so I think that was really cool for our town. That's it.
Thank you. Councilor Lupke.
I just wish I was here last month to see you and Ren. I was out of town. I really miss that. The reviews all came in very good. New Yorker, American. Even the South Beloit Times did a good job. I was honored to be at the police department this afternoon to honor Sergeant Francine, who retired after 30, how many years, Dave? 34. 34 years, wow. That was great to be there and see all the old and familiar faces. You were the youngest one there, I think.
Experienced. You're experienced.
Yeah, experienced. Last week, I was honored to be at the Beloit Club with our city manager and other counselors to honor Tom Finley. And Tom was in the audience earlier, but I think it's his bedtime, so he had to go home. But Tom was honored for being a Beloit builder and a booster for Beloit. Did a very nice job. He's quite an entertainer, too, and he sang an Irish ditty. Yeah. Last week, attended the board for the Rock County Youth Network in Janesville. I was also happy to be at the Fatherhood Initiative at the Eclipse Center. And it's always nice to see students I had 10, 15 years ago and with just making it well as fathers. It's great. Brings a tear to your eye. At that DBA meeting we had, our board meeting last week, we have few vacant buildings downtown Beloit. Shauna and her staff have done a good job. Downtown Beloit has done a good job of promoting itself. We've become kind of a destination for Farr and Janesville and Brockton, having all those towns come into Beloit. It's wonderful to see that. You go by Lucy's and other places, and they're pretty filled up. You got to stand outside. That's really great. So anyway, that's all I have.
All right. Thank you. Councillor Kelly.
Well, I was going to report on the State Light Community Foundation, but they already did. So I'm just looking forward to the holidays to be over. I'm done.
Okay. Thank you. Councillor Kincaid.
I'll shake it up too and not say anything.
All right. And on to Councillor DeForest.
Thank you. Well, I have lots to say, of course. Sorry. All right. I know it's your birthday. I'm sorry. I'll try to shorten it just for your birthday. I did appreciate going to the State Line Community Foundation dinner, and I do want to really take the time to acknowledge Tom Finley. And he's here in the audience today because he was supporting Family Service Association, who was on our consent agenda, which we didn't talk about, but he's still giving tirelessly to so many nonprofit organizations. So I just really want to thank him for his service. I was able to attend the NAACP meeting, the Beloit Property Managers Association meeting. I was able to go to the night out with Diggy Simmons. Oh, really, do I have to tell? I was dancing on stage. Not very well because I'm not a very good dancer. I'm going to turn purple. But I was really pleased to support all of our local artists. There's so much local talent up there on the stage, so it was wonderful. And when they asked for people that were 40 and over to come up on the stage and dance, I felt like I needed to support them, and it was not pretty. And then finally, I would like to thank Holly Hartley, one of our city employees who helped to organize donations for the pet food pantry. So thank you, Holly, for doing that, and thank you for our staff who donated. So we just have fantastic city employees. So thank you, and everyone, happy holidays.
Thank you. And I will pass tonight. So normally we would have next item would be number 10, which would be city manager's presentation. There isn't one, so we'll move on to item 11, reports from boards and city officers, 11A.
Is a resolution approving the 2016-2017 contract between the City of Beloit and the Humane Society of Southern Wisconsin for animal care and shelter services.
Interim Chief.
Good evening. This is just a request to approve a 2-year extension to an existing contract with the Humane Society of Southeast Wisconsin to shelter and care for our abandoned and stray animals in the city.
Thank you. And do we have a motion to approve? Moved by Lubke, second by Sloniker. Do we have any additional questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call the matter. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Happy birthday.
Item passes by a vote of 7-0. Last item for this agenda is item 12 is adjournment.
I'll second.
Moved by Sloniker, second by DeForest. All in favor of adjourning from this agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned from this agenda. All
You
right.
need to announce that we're-
Yes, and
Sorry.
I don't have a sheet for the agenda for the for this. For the,
Yeah.
okay. All right. So. All right. I will convene the special meeting of the Beloit City Council, and it is now 7:50, I believe. Roll call.
All are present.
All right. Item 2 is to move into closed session. Do we have a motion to move into closed session?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Kincaid and seconded by Hendricks? Oh, no, by Kelly. All right. All in favor of going into closed session, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are in closed session. Yeah, she did. That's okay. That's awesome. Okay. All right, we've reconvened into open session. All right, item 3 is consideration of the item in front of us, which is a resolution approving the retirement agreement and release between the City of Beloit and Tom Duncan.
I'd like to make that motion.
If we could take votes on both agreements, please, separately.
Okay, all right, so we'll move for Tom Duncan first. That was moved by Councilor DeForest, second by Councilor Kelly. Do we have any additional comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll call the matter. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Item passes by a vote of 7-0. The second is the resolution approving the retirement agreement between the City of Beloit and Norm Jacobs.
I'd like to make that motion as well.
Moved by DeForest, second by Kincaid. Any other questions or comments from councilors? Okay, hearing none, we'll call the matter. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Item passes by a vote of 7-0. And I believe the city manager you have the floor.
Thank you. Tonight's action by the City Council closes the chapter on a very difficult time for the City of Beloit. These settlement agreements bring a final resolution, mitigating the time, resources, and costs necessary to pursue the charges before the Police and Fire Commission and any future litigation. With this finality, the city now has the ability to officially move forward and continue on our path of enhancing leadership, strengthening community relations, and transitioning to modern-day policing. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So hearing that, item 4 is adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Okay.
Give it to the birthday girl.
Yeah, we'll give it to Councilor Kelly and second by Councilor Sloniker. All in favor of adjournment, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item passes by a vote of 7-0. We are adjourned.